The night my family gave up on me, I stopped asking to be chosen. I had just come home from the hospital after a severe panic attack. My job was gone. My savings were nearly empty. Bills stacked on the kitchen counter like accusations. For the first time in years, I called my parents and asked for help. Not forever, just enough to survive one more month. My mother listened quietly before sighing into the phone. "You're on your own now, Jasmine." Then my father took the call. "We're not wasting another dollar on a failure." No concern, no comfort, no, "Are you okay?" Just judgment. In the background, my grandfather muttered the words I'd heard my whole life. Why couldn't she be more like Derek? Derek, my younger brother, the golden child, the son they celebrated, the son they protected, the son they built the family around. And me? I was the dependable one, the invisible one, the daughter who solved problems quietly while everyone praised someone else. That night, something inside me changed. I packed a backpack, turned off my phone, and left my apartment before sunrise with nothing but a hoodie, my laptop, and the promise that no one would ever get the chance to throw me away again. For the first month, I slept on my best friend Asha's couch. During the day, I washed dishes at a diner near downtown. At night, while the city slept, I taught myself UX design and front-end development through free online courses. No one knew. I didn't post updates. I didn't tell my family. I disappeared quietly. And honestly, they barely noticed. That part hurt the most. Growing up, I had always been useful, never valuable. When Derek struggled in school, my parents hired tutors and held family meetings. When I earned scholarships and straight A's, they nodded politely and changed the subject. When Derek crashed Dad's car, I defended him. When he needed help studying, I stayed up late tutoring him. When he needed an apartment, I co-signed the lease. I spent years confusing usefulness with love. But once I stopped helping everyone else, I realized something painful. They had never really seen me at all. Still, being alone changed me. There's a strange freedom in no longer expecting rescue. I stopped performing, stopped begging for approval, stopped shrinking myself to make everyone else comfortable. Every morning before work, I practiced design projects on my laptop. Fake companies, fake websites, fake client pitches. Eventually, one tiny freelance job turned into 2, then 5, then a steady stream of clients. The first payment I received was only $75, but I stared at the screen with tears in my eyes because it represented something I had never truly felt before. Self-worth. Not borrowed, not conditional. Earned. Within a year, I rented my own tiny studio apartment. It wasn't glamorous, but it was peaceful. I painted the walls soft cream, bought secondhand furniture, and built routines that belonged only to me. Coffee in silence. Music while I worked. No criticism. No comparisons. No pressure to earn my place. For the first time in my life, I felt safe inside my own existence. Meanwhile, my family kept living as if Derek was the future. Every social media post praised him. Every family dinner centered around him. Every celebration revolved around his latest success. And honestly, I no longer cared, because while they were polishing his image, I was quietly building a real life. 2 years later, I ran a small but successful design agency. Nothing flashy, no viral fame, just consistency, discipline, and peace. Then one morning, everything changed. A news article appeared online with Derek's face beside a headline about financial fraud and an ongoing investigation involving several startup companies. I stared at the screen in disbelief. The perfect son had collapsed. Suddenly, the family that once called me a burden remembered I existed. My mother texted first, "Please call us." Then my father, "Your brother needs help." Then Derek himself, "Jazz, I messed up." I sat in silence reading the messages. 2 years earlier, I had begged for help covering rent while fighting panic attacks and unemployment. Now they needed me, not because they loved me, because I was useful again. That realization changed everything. The calls kept coming, long emotional emails, apologies, excuses, promises. But hidden beneath every message was the same request: save Derek. Not, how are you? Not, we miss you. Not, we're proud of you. Just need again. And for the first time in my life, I refused to become the emotional safety net for people who never cared whether I survived. Around that same time, I was invited onto a podcast about women rebuilding their lives after burnout and family rejection. At the end of the interview, I said something that unexpectedly spread across social media. If people only value you when you're useful, they never really valued you at all. Thousands of people connected with it. Messages poured in from daughters, sons, siblings, and caretakers who spent years sacrificing themselves for families that only noticed them when something went wrong. That moment opened a new door for me. I began speaking publicly about emotional resilience, self-worth, and rebuilding your identity after rejection. I launched an online community for women learning to rebuild their lives independently. What started as a small support group quickly grew into something far bigger than me: stories, healing, mentorship, connection. For the first time, my pain had purpose. And then one afternoon, my family appeared at my office unannounced, all three of them. My mother looked nervous. My father looked older. Derek looked exhausted. We stood in the lobby facing each other after years of silence. My mother stepped forward first. We made mistakes. I nodded calmly. Yes, you did. My father avoided eye contact. Derek finally spoke. I'm sorry, Jasmine. His voice cracked in a way I had never heard before. I thought everything would always work out for me. I studied him quietly. For years, he had lived inside the protection our parents built around him. Now reality had finally arrived, and for the first time, he looked human instead of untouchable. My mother reached for my hand. We need help. There it was, the truth beneath the apology. Need again. I gently stepped back. You didn't come because you missed me, I said softly. You came because the person you invested everything in failed, and now you want access to the daughter you ignored. Silence filled the lobby. No yelling, no drama, just truth. My father finally whispered, we were wrong. I believed him. But belief and reconciliation are not the same thing, because healing doesn't erase memory. It simply removes the need for revenge. I looked at them calmly and said the words I once needed to hear myself. I survived without your approval. I built a life without your support, and I'm finally happy without your permission. No one spoke after that. I turned and walked away peacefully, not angry, not bitter, free. Months later, I stood on a stage giving a talk titled, The Day I Became My Own Family. I spoke about the danger of tying your worth to people who only appreciate your sacrifices. I spoke about rebuilding identity after rejection, and I spoke about the moment I finally understood something life-changing. Being abandoned doesn't make you worthless. Sometimes it simply creates the space for you to discover who you were always meant to become. After the event, a young woman hugged me with tears in her eyes. You made me feel less alone, she whispered. And in that moment, I realized my story was never really about proving my family wrong. It was about proving to myself that I deserved love, peace, and belonging, even if the people closest to me never knew how to give it. Today, my life looks nothing like the one I begged to keep years ago. I own my business. I mentor young women rebuilding their confidence. I wake up in a home filled with peace instead of criticism. And my family, they still reach out sometimes, not as often, not as loudly. But now, the difference is simple. I no longer need them to finally see my value, because I already do. They once told me I was on my own, and they were right. That's exactly how I became unstoppable.